Mhm. Because
you know?
it's like, yeah, you get a Snapchat and you're like,
Mhm,
"Okay, I just got it, but I can't answer right away because then it'll look like I want it too much, or maybe then they'll think I'm friend zoning them. So I
mhm,
have to wait like an hour or two. But then if I wait too long, then they'll think I'm not interested." So it's very hard to find that like
yep,
that perfect spot.
mhm,
So it's definitely hard to navigate.
and I just
Yeah.
think that, like, besides everything that's being distorted by, like, social media presence, you have, like you said, how long does it take, like, how long should I wait to open this? Because, the time frame that you do it kinda says it shows your emotion in some way. You have, like, if your read receipts are on your instant messaging, people checking locations and Snap scores to see if they're Snapchatting you but not other people, or vice versa. Um, and you just have, like, a general, like, more sexualized culture where, you know, people are looking for pictures of you and for more, I don't know, just mindless interactions. And I think it's really affecting, how people interact in college, because automatically, like, if you start talking to a guy or a girl or whoever, there's like this barrier almost of like,
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know where this is gonna go, but I'm just gonna, you know do whatever, hook up with them, because that's what normal college kids do.
Mhm. Or it puts you in the situation where, say there is someone that you are just friendly with and just wanna be friends with, like, nothing more than that. Like,
Mhm,
are you leading them on just by Snapchatting them?
mhm,
And that puts so much more, like, questions, pressure on Snapchat. And the same thing with Instagram, like, if you like someone's picture, like, for you, that could mean nothing, but for that kid's boyfriend or girlfriend, it might mean something completely different because now the age that we're living in, entire relationships can be started just because someone liked your Instagram post.
mhm,
So it could be innocent, and then on the other hand, it could be trying to start something. But
mhm.
since we're in like, I feel like like our age of people are kind of in the transformation zone
Yes.
where like the people younger than us, if you like someone's picture, you like them. The people
Mhm.
older than us, it doesn't matter because you're like
Yeah,
a millennial who doesn't know
they're
how to use
formal,
Instagram.
more
Yeah.
formal.
Yeah. So we're stuck in that middle zone where who
Yeah,
knows what it can mean for different people.
right. We're stuck in the game that you have to play by, like, liking each other's pictures, and then someone slides in the DMs, and then it goes
Mhm.
from there. Also,
Mhm.
what I think is interesting is how people don't really text. I feel like texting is very formal, and it's only until you reach that, like, stage of, okay, things are getting serious, I'm gonna start texting you, like, every day now. But
Mhm.
people, especially guys, like to instant message through Snapchat,
Because
or
it goes away.
it goes away, and you don't have to constantly be reminded that you're, in constant communication, which I think is crazy.
Yeah. I saw a tweet the other day, probably not the other day, it was probably a while ago, but it was like, you girls are crying over a boy who hasn't even given you his phone number yet. So it's just like how much like hookup culture there is just like with like Snapchat or Instagram or other social
Mhm.
medias where like that online life is so separate from like real life relationships. You know what I mean?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Um, and then we have some questions that I made a Instagram story that had an option to answer some of the questions that I had, and the responses I got for the college dating portion of it. The first one was about how relationships are affected by technology. I think we covered most of it. Do you have
Mhm.
anything to add that we didn't maybe go over?
I think just in general, it could be both negative or positive. It could be a great way to talk to your boyfriend or girlfriend every day, but it could also be something that might put a divide in between you two. So it just depends on the nature of the relationship and how you're using the technology.
I totally agree. The next one was the same thing. The third one is very interesting. Do you think dating apps are ingraining us to decide who we want to date based on looks, considering the average swipe is less than 2 seconds?
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't realize
yeah.
it. I think as sad as it is, 100% people are gonna make judgments based off of appearance. I mean, you see these new like reality shows like Love is Blind who try to test that theory and put like is love truly about like, or love and interest truly about like what's on the inside, not, but you have all these dating apps that give people an outlet to post, you know, their pictures of their body or like how attractive they seem to people. So I think it is mostly about attractiveness and looks. And I think it's hard to retrain our society to look deeper within people. I just think like that's how it is, and that's kind of like depends on the person. Someone could really be concerned only about physique and attractiveness, and some people can look deeper. I think it's all subjective kind of.
And especially with like the way relationships start nowadays, I feel like back in the old days, they used to be like, you would meet someone, then you would like court them, go on a few dates, and then a couple months into the relationship, like then it would become more like intense physically. But now you're kind of starting with the physical relationship and then seeing if anything comes from it.
Right.
So yeah. And Tinder and Grindr and Bumble have definitely intensified that.
Right. So you have apps that are strictly known as like hooking up, where it's not like, you know, Match.com or eHarmony where you're looking for
Christian Mingle.
Christian Mingle. Absolutely. You're not looking for like who you're going to marry potentially on Tinder, and you know, like there's some form of entertainment that just keeps people interested. And it's all about the swiping, and it's all about like having someone in front of you and then like just either tossing them aside or like engaging, which I think is definitely going to have some effect on the future of dating, specifically within colleges. I have here some ways that I think, based on the research I found, like not how to improve college dating, but just, you know, how can we make connections more meaningful? I think promoting face-to-face interactions is a great way to like start this, because, you know, people are kind of afraid to take people on dates because it means something way more serious than they intend. I think there's like a level of vulnerability that people need to get past. You know, like opening up to someone is okay. Like the whole point of meeting someone is to get to know them and, you know, break down those walls. But I think like dating apps keep it super like superficial. You agree?
100%. Yeah. And no, yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know.
Nothing to add. Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. It's just like a stigmatized feeling that you get from people on dating apps if you match with them. Like you know, in a way that you know already going in that nothing serious is really going to potentially come out of it. It's more of like a hookup culture.
Yeah.
And I think like clarifying those intentions on these apps, like I don't know if marketing is the right word, but like promoting apps that are more so for long
Actually finding a partner.
yeah,
Yeah.
long-term relationships, and ones that are for just strictly hooking up. This way people know the difference and know what they're getting themselves into.
And
And
there are, you go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
Okay. And like everyone's probably come across an actual relationship that has started on
Mhm.
Tinder, but the immediate idea that you have, or that connotation, is like, oh well, that's not gonna last, you guys met on Tinder.
Right.
And so it's just crazy like how much which social media app you met on determines like the validity of your relationship.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think for those relationships, like going forward, the less focus on social media, I think the better for relationships, just because you're not worried about what they're liking, who they're talking to, who's commenting, who's liking their pictures. And I think it's just driven a lot of relationships into jealousy and potentially like violence, like the article that I read about. And it's just, I don't know. Social media is so two-sided, and it's like a double-edged sword. It's great in so many ways, and I think it kind of messes up I don't know, like the norms of society, and it changes especially the dating culture in college.
100%.
Yeah. Do you have anything else to add? I think we covered a lot.
I think we got to everything.
Yeah. Because I'm sure this podcast is like 20 minutes long.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for giving me your input, helping me out here.
Thank you
we
for
go through
having
a lot
me.
of similar things, and it was great talking about this. So thanks. And thanks everyone for watching.